Well, it's called the meeting of the Unionville Historic District and Properties Commission to order on May 6th at 7 o'clock p.m. And we will start by reviewing and approving the February 6th, 2025 minutes. Have you all had a chance to read them? Should we give you a couple of minutes to do that?
I'm all set.
You're all set? Okay, everybody else okay? Okay, great.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Hoffman says yes.
We'll second it.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, all in favor of approval, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? No, great. All right, minutes of the February 6th, 2025 meeting approved. This is a very focused meeting. We're going to, happily, we have time during this meeting to talk about our fall education program that we talked about briefly the last couple of meetings. And Barbara Marsh kicked off the process by sending me a document a couple of weeks ago, which started to outline the program, and we went back and forth and came up with a working document to help us discuss certain aspects of the program and begin to focus in on what it is we want to do and how it is we want to do it. So I'd like to continue with that. We are calling it the information gathering session. That's pretty cumbersome. So one of the things we need to do is come up with a better title, but we can work on that later.
IGS.
I love it. Oh gosh, that's great. The IGS, right? I love it. I've got to write that down. Hang on a second. So the program's purpose, and this is a draft document, so these are meant to be discussed, are to gather, the program's intention and purpose is to gather information directly from people about houses and buildings in Unionville and the people who lived and worked in them. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Anything you'd like to add or take out? Or you can't take buildings out, sorry. How does that strike you? It's pretty simple, but.
Yep. I was thinking, and it's just a nuance, and this is really just for us, but I think what we're really looking for are stories. We don't want people to feel like they have to come and like have all this, I don't know, like a major timeline or anything. I think what kind of inspired us was listening to Tracy Fillion when she was talking about her aunt and the house on Farmington Ave and, all of that. So people know that, so that, I think we want to keep like that warmth in it. And so it feels like good and it's not like history, what I mean? I don't know.
It's more personal.
Yeah.
I think
Like stories. And I think that would be, I don't know.
that would be part of what we would be taping. Those
Yes.
stories. It is history because it's how history and events affected real people.
Right. It's like reading the letters of John and Abigail Adams instead of learning that he was the second president.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. So would you, go ahead, sorry.
Would you think that Sanford Holly would be a participant?
Who, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sanford Holly.
Oh.
I would hope so.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think that businesses or homes or any other structures in Unionville could be the canal.
You have a historian, right?
And is it Fred or Frank? I don't know why
it is Frank.
But he has
Frank,
a ton of stories. He could go on all night. And
well, that would be.
I know he is willing to be taped because we had tried to start that, but we didn't get very far. Yeah,
that's,
he has wonderful stories about literally going back to Sherman and, you know, the original,
Mhm.
the original Sanfords here, yeah, no.
Yeah, great. I like the fact that we're bringing up Frank as an example of one person we'd very much like to be
Yeah.
involved in this process. So I'm going to write down some names as you speak them out. So
Mhm.
would you say that you'd like to replace the word information with stories, or would you like to say gather stories and information? What,
I think we want to put both in.
both. Yeah, everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Aye.
all right. Plus info, all right. My hearing isn't so fine, so I have to lean in. All right, good. So, I mean, we just stabbed at something here. The format would be one 3-hour session at the Farmington Library, during which people can talk to a volunteer about their information and have any material they brought in scanned. Um, I, I mean, that's just 3 hours seems reasonable. Somehow 4 hours seems like an eternity to me, but this is open to discussion.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to see, again, how many people say they want to be participants. We may need more than one session. And I
Mhm.
think we should also bear in mind, when it comes to reserving space at the library, if we use the large community room as kind of a greeting and a place to scan documents, we're going to need a quiet space, and we probably have to also reserve one or two of the rooms upstairs if we're going to be recording. So they can be
Okay.
private and, yeah.
So quiet, wherever we do it, there needs to be some quiet space. Okay.
Right.
What about the idea of, again, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, we don't want to I mean, 3 hours I think is like, we're talking about our time limit, but we don't want to say, oh, it's a 3-hour session, because then people will be like, I don't have 3 hours.
Yeah, no,
Right.
no, no.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
so,
and-
but I was also just curious, what do you think about, are you thinking about, like, when you mentioned Frank, I don't know him personally, but that he would be someone to come and kind of give like a talk, like that might be part of how we might start to promote it, or anything like that to draw people in? I'm kind of thinking, how do we want to reach people?
Yeah,
well,
that's
that's
something.
the publicity end.
Yeah, but, and to
about,
commit
yeah.
for them to come, you know, I was trying to think, I saw something this week about, with a sign-up form, and that's what I was trying to remember what I saw. I think it was through the library. I think it was like a patch article that linked, you know, because that's what I'm thinking about, I don't want to have to happen like when we did our last tour, right? And we'd like people to, you know, feel, I don't know, connected, that's all. I'm not talking about I wasn't talking like anything big, but,
Yeah.
and I know I'm leaning towards promotion, but I think we need to think about that, because we think, okay, we're gonna get people to come and talk, like, if we're gonna do something at the library, can we do like a little mini station, like an example of a story, or something that draws people in and they think, oh, I have a story, or my mother does, or.
Have someone who's willing to kind of be the first
Yeah.
one and maybe do it live.
Right, or, right, maybe that,
And-
or
and
just
again, I
something
think-
written up that
Yeah.
we can have, so people get an idea. You know how it is, you can feel like,
Yeah.
I think people can be very shy or reticent, and they don't think their
Yeah.
story is worthy, or, you know,
Yeah.
it's not a real story.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you think,
And,
do you
and
think
again,
we'd-
I think,
Go ahead.
I think part of that is getting an idea of how many people are interested and who might be interested. And that is also part of how many venues do we have to advertise what we're doing
Right.
to pull people in. Yeah, I mean, we can say we will be scanning documents between this time and that time, but we will be, doing recordings, and maybe we'll set up time individually with people, so they don't think they have to spend the day there. But again, first we have
Yeah.
to know what we're doing and generate that information.
So it seems to me as I'm listening to you all talk, and these are great questions. In my mind, there are two different ways to do this. The first way, it's not a preference for me, but the first way would be you just say, we're there from 12 to 3, stop by, and we'll just take anybody who comes in. That's one way. Another way is to make appointments with people. They have a way in which they can connect with us and make appointments during this period, 3-hour period on a certain day. And so they come in at a specific time, and then we're able to share exactly what what the process is going to be, and maybe even who they're going to be talking to, and that kind of thing. So do one or the other of those feel more comfortable for you, make more sense, or?
I think the idea of the appointment piece gives a little
Yes.
more structure around it. And I think if we kind of going with what Kelly was saying about whether it's Frank or somebody else, maybe we focus on doing a short recording of somebody to kind of, it's the promotion, but the kickoff or the get them thinking about things that could be distributed to kind of engage people to sign up for one of those appointments.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
find somebody willing to sit down with us ahead of time, so, yeah.
Correct.
And then,
Yeah.
this is a demonstration, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, good. That's a good idea. So then people will know they'll have a better idea of what we're really looking for.
Correct.
And, yeah, good. Okay, good. All right. Okay, that helps a lot. So the way we would go about acquiring the stories and the information is we would add volunteers, each of whom would have a simple form when someone comes in to talk with them that includes name and contact information. There would be also a permission form that the participant would sign, so that each and every person would be giving the same regular information, but then there would be a section, probably at the very end of that, where people they can share, they can talk, they can tell their stories. And some stories are shorter than others, but I think we need to be patient about the length of time that people need. Because we would be recording these sessions, those recordings would help us determine exactly what happened in the session. So there are always questions afterwards, right? And we'd also have the form with the written information that the volunteer has provided. I think in addition to that, having a way in which we could scan, and if not scanners, then possibly Xerox machines, where when people will bring material in, it's what they do, and it's part of I think, the fun of it. So it could be text material, or it could be photographs. So to have a way to copy those or scan those ideally would be great. And perhaps each team has 2 volunteers. So one volunteer is doing the writing, and the other volunteer is taking the material and getting it scanned wherever the scanner is. We can work on that later. How does that sound to you? Does that sound like a doable process?
I think it's
Manageable?
doable if we can get the equipment. I don't know if the town has like a smaller printer scanner that we can move around.
Well, there are,
Jared's thinking. Is there?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've got that.
Yeah, I think
I
we
mean, all
can-
the copies.
I've got a couple ideas,
okay,
but I think as we kind of close in on the when and the how,
Mhm.
I think it'll
Uh-huh.
help and it may involve a pivot of location.
Okay, 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 that's all right. Yeah, I don't,
um and I'm thinking about the recording piece too, and there's video recording, which is a little more involved, and um
huh,
but I think if we were to stick with just audio recording, and the
yeah,
fact that we're looking for folks to bring materials in, and we may have to kind of obtain our own additional materials. But if in the future we were to take some of those audio recordings, I think, pairing that with more static images, and
mhm,
I mean, the Ken Burns effect, essentially,
yes,
versus
yes,
sticking with the audio, I think would make it easier on our end in terms of logistics, and more comfortable on the participants' end in terms of being like they're not being videotaped. We're
yeah,
recording your audio so that we have it to refer back to.
right, right. It's very much like an oral history process where they're audio recordings. They're
Right,
not video recordings. Yeah,
right.
yeah. All
But
right,
that,
And
so,
that, we're gonna need a lot of help from you, because every fifth grader is fully able to do most of this,
Mhm.
but we may not be.
Right.
I mean, no, I totally agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Graders
All right.
just use their phone.
Yeah, it's actually
Well,
going.
Oh, they do.
It's
They
like
take a
phone
picture,
thing.
yeah.
Right.
And they hit the record
They also
button.
know how to use more involved equipment, so, I think, when we talk about a space, I think we need to also be willing to perhaps go to someone's home, or maybe a senior care setting.
I think the audio is better for that too. 'Cause
Oh,
some
yeah,
people
but
Absolutely.
we,
and not,
but we have to think about that. In that case, we may have to scan documents with our phones,
Yes,
something, but, yeah,
okay, okay.
I might,
All right, you're right about that, Barbara. We need to have that in our kind of plan so we know how to operate with that. And all right, okay.
I was also just going to I don't know, I've not done an interview like this before, but, and this might be standards that you've already considered, but some open-ended questions to help
Yes.
kind of propel the conversation, or just to ask, so if someone comes in.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think Lisa said.
Is that what
we put that on the
some,
form.
perfect.
Yeah, we've got a lot of material about
Work on
how to
that.
do oral history. And you're absolutely right, Kelly. There are a number of different questions you ask, and a lot of them are open-ended, or they're meant to jog someone's memory or make them feel comfortable to be able to speak. So so and that's not on this sheet, is that our information, our education in how to do this,
We need
but also
training.
training of volunteers, yeah, which will
Yeah.
be important.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's you're right. All right, so that's good. All right. So then what do we need to pull this off? We certainly need volunteers. I think it may be that just commissioners are doing this, but it would be nice to have some space here to bring in some volunteers. Matt, I thought of your father right away. He would definitely be someone we have to interview, but he
Yeah.
think he might also be interested in being an interviewer.
Yeah.
So we've got a number of people in town, I think, who'd be very interested in helping out with this. We do need provision forms for participants. Those are readily available in the oral history literature that I'll share with you at the next meeting. And then we need to develop a form to record information and stories consistently and as completely as possible. So that's somebody will need to work on doing that. Scanners, audio recorders, and then I don't know, I thought of some kind of little gift for people who
Oh,
participate.
yeah.
I'm not sure what that might be, but I'm sure we could come up with something local and
Food.
fun. Yeah, local and fun. You think of
Has
anything else? Mm-hmm.
I would
Has,
like a little refreshments if we,
Oh.
for people, while
Yes.
we're, nothing major. I mean, we're at the library. I'm not suggesting
Yeah.
wine, but, you know.
Why not?
You know, I don't know.
No, that's a great idea, Kelly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Town building.
Do we need, with the forms, the permission forms, the town council to be involved, or
I don't
No.
do
think
they
so.
already have?
No,
No.
as long as, at worst, we have our attorney review the form.
Okay. All right. Well,
Right.
yeah.
But it's something that's kept at the library too, so it's not like it's being published in a book and
Right.
Yeah,
document,
Hey,
yeah.
you don't know. I think that would be part of the form, though.
Yeah,
that-
but it- I
that
mean-
would be giving us, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we've put a generic disclaimer on the walking tours too, and as kind of a cover-esque, because it's an event, but it's not really,
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that concerned about it, but if anything, if we want to have our attorney review the form for what the
Yes.
work is, not a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. I'm just writing that down. Yeah. Yeah. Permission forms. Yeah. Good.
has there been any discussion with the museum up until this point regarding, because I know Patty had an initiative going on already, doing something similar in terms of oral history, kind of a revivement of something they did a while ago. And so some of those, the questions, the volunteers, I think kind of getting to some of the lower part of the document there and where the material gets stored. But I'm wondering if it does make sense for us to reach out to them and partner with them on this.
So reach out to Unionville Museum
Right.
and possibly partner. Okay.
They were using the room just inside the annex, the very first office they were using over the summer, and they had folks coming in, and they had a couple of uh, college students working with them on the technical aspect of things, but doing exactly that, oral history.
Okay. Oh, great. All right. That's great. Oh, you're right. We need to
They
connect with
already
them
have
now.
some that we can listen to, hopefully, and get ideas from, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, Matt. I didn't know that they were working on that material. That's wonderful. Good. Anything else we need to think about in terms of needs and checking in with other organizations or people?
I was wondering, when we check in, I'm sure we have to check in with the library, obviously,
Yeah.
but, if we could talk about getting something on like one of their program web pages, you know, like, if you want to sign up for something now, they have a link.
Yeah.
You can put your information, or just a description, because if we're gonna do any kind of a promotion, people like
Yeah, and I think,
electronic.
enough notice, we
Yeah.
can do a press release with the
Oh, yeah.
newspapers. We can schedule it with the town manager's office
What
for
newspapers?
posting on.
Patch.
No, we reach out to, we've got a list of people for
Yeah,
Patch,
yeah.
Yeah.
for current.
There are several
Valley
towns,
Press is every 2 weeks, so that kind of depends
Yeah.
on
Right,
the
but-
timing.
yeah.
Coordinate with the town manager's office for posting on social
Sure.
media.
Yeah,
Everbridge notification.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunities.
yeah.
There's
Okay.
several town email kind of newsletters that go out.
Yeah.
We could on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah, that we've got-
activities, and then even the business one, we could put.
Yeah, if they're local.
Yeah, no, just
definitely, yeah.
local, yeah.
Like if the person running the business is local. But we can,
Yeah.
you can do flyers too. You can put them up in Stop and Shop,
Flyers,
Hamlet Park Market, all that,
Yeah.
all those things.
Yeah, because I think it would be great when we, if we have like, if there's like a little story that is out there, then there's a link just to like, hey, for more information, you
Right.
click here, 'cause then I know I'll do that if I'm I always read the patch.
Right.
Just to say, oh, what's going on in
Yeah.
town?
Yeah, 'cause that's the
And
more
you can
local.
get in the Farmington Happening section of
Yeah.
it, you know, and all that. But if there's something more to do than just read it,
Yeah.
you know, that's all I
Yeah.
was trying to get at.
We would just have to include in everything a link and a way for
Right.
people to sign up or get in touch
Yeah, that's easy.
for information, so we would do that.
Yeah.
What about the Farmington Historical Society?
Well, I think that I don't disagree with connecting with them, but I think that I think about organizations in a circular structure, so Farmington Historic District perhaps because they deal with buildings as we do. The Farmington, oh gosh, what's the rare book place in the Farmington Library? The Farmington Room.
Farmington Room.
Yeah, they have a wonderful young librarian now who's in charge of the Farmington Room. So, those kinds of organizations, I think before, and obviously Unionville Museum because it's so local. But I think the Farmington Historical Society is kind of then in the next circle, because they do things that are wider than buildings. They do more kinds of things. So, but certainly in terms of promotion, absolutely. I think that's a great organization to bring in. And they might even have ideas for us on who to contact to interview. And I think especially about the older generation, there are still people walking around who have lived in Unionville for decades and they're on the fourth generation of their family in Unionville. And that generation, they're leaving us. So it would be nice to connect with those kinds of folks. Not primarily, but I think really focusing on getting to those folks. As you mentioned, Barbara, making some provisions so that we can go to people's homes or to care centers where it just might be more comfortable for older people to be interviewed in those settings. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, no, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think we definitely want older people. They're not very much older than me, but.
They're getting younger and younger, aren't they? Or we're not going to say the other part of that. No, they're getting younger and younger. So, so some questions then. So the final destination for this material, and I think that Barbara brought up the idea that we're going to need to process this material in some way. We're going to have to get the audio recordings transcribed. We're going to need to, organize the images that we scan or Xerox. But in the end, where does this material live? The material that we select as being appropriate, which I'm sure it all will be. Should it live in the Farmington room at the library where all the material about the buildings is already located? Should it be somehow connected to that resource there? Or maybe it's several different final destinations.
Yeah, I was just thinking the museum and the library.
Mm-hmm.
Duplicates, because it's all going to be digital, so I mean, if we made duplicates. When I sent the blurb to you and suggested the high school, I don't know in their new building, if the library has any room for anything like this. That may be, or maybe it instead of actually being there, might be showcased at certain times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Part of, history.
Well, they have a pretty good website, so I don't know if that's a place where they might consider having this material live for at least a short time, but having it in written form in their file system near the area where all the historic resource reports are for historic buildings in both Unionville and Farmington would be great.
Yeah.
But obviously the Union Museum also, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you think of other places or?
Well, like Barbara mentioned, like a showcase almost, we could maybe do something with the new town hall when that opens.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe time it for tax season, so that way, that's when the most people are coming in.
I always say
Yeah.
building.
No, not that old, but, hoping to be done early next year, so it's obviously wouldn't be this year, but,
The date was
Yeah.
January.
yeah.
They were shooting for.
Yeah. So that's, I
Great.
mean, it'd be early next year, or we wait till July of next year, which is tax season, and more
Yeah.
people are coming to town hall to see it, so.
Is there a place in the new town hall, Garrett, that is for display of some kind?
That is a great question, and I will find out.
I don't know.
I don't know all the details of the new building.
I mean, we could make a display any place, of course. We don't need a distinct area that's been created, but
Right.
yeah, I'd just be curious about that. That's a wonderful idea. I love that. Love that.
So we really have different time spans. I mean, now trying to figure out how to put the forms together, publicity to see how many or any participants, people who want to. I have a feeling we may get more than we realize.
It's possible.
A period of training,
Yep.
and then a period to actually, do the intake, so to speak.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then at some point, plan an educational, perhaps, show or, demonstration to the community.
Yeah.
Another-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a great idea.
know what we have.
Yep.
Quick question,
Yeah.
because I'm jotting names down here. And so, are we, in terms of a time frame or a time period, and I don't even know that we're focused on that, but are we looking for individuals that would have been living in town during redevelopment, pre-redevelopment, post-redevelopment? Is there a particular time frame we're looking at?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
as I'm jotting down names, most of the names that I've got here would have been
Yep.
folks that would have been teenagers around the time of redevelopment.
Oh, okay.
You mean,
Well, what-
you mean the 1960s when they did
60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you
urban
all
renewal?
think?
Okay.
Yeah. What do you all think?
How many people are you gonna get before then?
Not many.
Well,
Not many. Yeah.
but,
Still a lot.
Getting
Yeah.
Tracy's
I
aunt.
mean, it'll be 70
Yeah.
years.
yeah.
This year's 70 years since the flood, so.
Correct. The majority of the folks I have listed here are in their 70s. So
But you-
Okay. Okay.
But you
So it's
may
really
be-
it's the
you may be
redevelopment
getting-
and the flood and everything after. Yeah.
right.
Right. You may be
that's really-
getting people who grew up in the 50s and 60s, but have stories to tell us from their parents and grandparents that go back
there's
further.
yes, that's what inspired us, wasn't it? That's right.
Right. Yeah. There may be, they may have information and documents, I mean, even, a lot of families have kept their original, citizenship papers.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I know they have, because I've seen them at the schools when they do the immigration,
No kidding.
projects. Yeah, I mean, so there's that also. In fact, when I originally wrote the little blurb and I said, were you around in 1950? And I put a question mark because it's going to be hard to give a date. If people want to tell their stories and it's a little later and maybe it could be really interesting, then I think we have to let them do it. And
Yep.
if they have some real old stories, even if they're just stories and we can't verify factually, but they're a family history, so to speak, I think we want to hear those also.
Yeah, so yeah, and along those lines, Matt, you bring up something interesting. Oh, were you speaking, Kelly? I'm sorry. No?
I'm good.
Okay.
No.
You bring up something
I'm not
interesting. It's hard to hear, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
It's I don't really want to put restrictions on who comes in to talk to us. So Barbara, you just mentioned, a grandchild of a family that lived in a house, but the family doesn't live there anymore. But if that grandchild has interesting stories and also written pieces or photographs, that's still interesting to us. So I don't know, Matt, how to phrase it. I think we could say redevelopment and the flood moving forward, but we could also welcome people who have family stories or memorabilia from prior to that time too.
Yep.
We could just
Right.
make sure that everybody understands that, frankly, we'll listen to anybody.
I'm almost wondering if you do like a promotional piece and it's, if this is called whatever, something to do with oral histories, right? And then, and you position it like, did you grow up during redevelopment? Or were your parents here when the trolleys, or your grandparents when the trolleys used to run? Or you make it something like that to just try to generate ideas so that, people think, what they might
Yes.
be. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, and it is hard to really nail it down. I know, and I'm going to say it again, I can never remember the exact address, the big, beautiful Queen Anne on Lovely, where the one that,
Garrett.
we weren't sure where the original house was.
Oh,
There
yeah,
were two
yeah.
homes there, the house was
The
moved.
Cardillo's house, yes, yeah.
Owner who lives there now, who I don't think has a family history in town, but
No.
he has a lot of information and stories that the granddaughter of the original family
Yes.
told. And
Yes.
even as to where exactly that original house is and what it was used for. And I
You're
mean,
right about that,
I'd
Barbara.
love to get him in an interview.
This one, right, Barbara?
Yes. Yeah, the Cardillo's house, yeah.
Cordillo.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about
Yeah.
that, Barbara. And you as well, Kelly, to have some examples of specific information that we make sure that people understand are just examples. They're not kind of set in cement. These are the only things we're interested in. Yeah.
I mean, this isn't really a story, but one thing, I was talking to one of my girlfriends who grew up here, went to high school, and she was like, oh yeah, we always went to George's after all the games. Now, George's itself has been here for 50 years, right? Which is crazy when you think about, and I was like, oh, I would have never known that was the teenage hangout. Like, it's like Arnold's from Happy Days or something. But anyway, like, my kids didn't go to George's, right, when they were in high school. But anyway, I just feel like there's I don't know, there's just like a lot of tidbits, and that, I guess, gets to your redevelopment piece where someone might think, oh, what do I know? I don't really know, but just understanding what the culture and how people lived. It's kind of funny to me because it's all that stuff I don't document when everyone was growing up, like looking at the buildings and everything, and now that's the stuff you crave. What did it used to look like, or what did people used to do? So.
Yeah, that's nicely said, yeah.
I don't know, should we all just try to write a publicity blurb and then try to put it together? Try to get all the ideas together.
I know,
This is
you
how
had
we're
such an
going to-
impossible task. I felt so badly.
Yeah.
Until
But we
you
have to generate that participation. That's,
yes, very well, yes, we have to generate participation. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So we need
All
plans.
right.
So
All right.
I have a proposal on your revised title,
Okay.
just Unionville storytelling.
Unionville storytelling?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
like it.
based on the discussion we've had, like you were looking for a different way to say information gathering session, but
Yeah,
just Unionville storytelling.
I like it. What do you all think? Yeah.
yes.
Time or story time?
Yeah, Unionville storytelling.
Yeah, I think story time might sound too much like children, focused on children.
But
I will I think that's a good one, Matt, and if you want, I mean, I work with people who do this. I can ask my friend who we do marketing and just say, hey, this is what we're doing, and do you have any ideas? And and I can bring them next time, I think that's a good one, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I can just ask someone,
Yeah,
you know?
That'd be great, Kelly. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. I like it. I like it. So we've talked about a second possibility of a second session someplace else. We can talk about that more as we go on.
Once we see who's participating. You know, we may
Yeah,
have,
yeah,
we may have people from, a couple of the senior
yeah,
homes
yeah.
in Unionville, or even in Doncaster, who may say, hey, we have stories.
That's
That's
an
right.
interesting thing about having a session at the senior center.
Yeah, but
Oh,
some of
the
these people may
senior
not even
center.
be able to come to the senior
Yeah,
center.
no,
But yes,
I'm just,
the senior center itself, absolutely.
or something, I know we've talked about the library, I'm just thinking, I mean, that, of course, is a different time of the day, I mean, it could be a
Yeah.
weekday, I don't know, I'm just thinking maybe that's worth pursuing with the folks that do all the community events there and what they
That's
think,
a
I don't
great
know.
idea. That's a great idea. So that directly goes to really the generation we're interested in
Right,
talking
who we're
to
trying to get.
primarily. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's a great idea. Okay. So that goes back to whom should we market this program? We've talked about the older generation. It's really everybody in Unionville, I think,
Yeah.
and also Farmington. Okay.
Yeah, we're not trying to seek Farmington stories, but if we got one, we would accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I think
you're gonna have people in Farmington whose families come from
Right.
Unionville.
exactly. I'm thinking of the Bombaras. There, and I'm sure there are more. I think yes, and I think we could, once we have the feet, we have our feet under our bodies here with this program, and maybe once we've done it once, and we can iron out the kinks that come up, then we might feel braver about doing this program with other organizations and in other locations.
Well,
So I don't know, that's just something for us
Yeah.
to keep in mind. Um, okay. And as we move along, we'll figure out a way in which people can deposit information. And as we said early on, we've got to figure out a way to go to someone's house if they can't make one of these more public sessions. And we can do that. We'll figure that out. And I think we've got a great title for the program. Yeah, anything else we should discuss at this point?
You had said that you do have documentation on how to conduct these,
Yes, yes.
or
So oral
is
history, I
that
think,
something that you can send us that, isn't 50 pages long?
yeah, what I'll do is it's all back in Unionville, Connecticut. So I'm coming back March
Sure.
18th. And as soon as I do, I'll pull out that material. It's been a number of
Okay.
years since I've looked at it. So pull it out and take a look at what we can use.
Yeah, that might help us kind of like zero in on
Yeah,
what we want to do.
yeah,
We can't really set even an approximate date at this point to have something at the library, because we,
You need all the
you know,
little
we
stories.
first have to
before you go
have,
to the library.
well, no, we would be at the library where we would do recording, but I mean, we wouldn't be able to even set a time for that until we had participants,
Lined up.
yeah?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, this will come together. This is a ambitious and really valuable program. I'm excited
Yeah,
that we're doing this. But it will take some work to get it all together. It's different for us, really different.
For a lot of people.
Okay. So I'll take care of the oral history materials, and Kelly's going to talk to some of her colleagues or a colleague about marketing ideas, which is great. We also need someone to take a look at developing a timeline for the project. It doesn't have to be, the details don't have to be super accurate at this point, but as we move along, we need someone to keep refining that timeline for us. Anybody willing to do that?
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, we need a project plan is what
Yeah.
we need.
A project
Yeah.
plan.
Are you a
Yeah, is that
project planner?
Kelly?
I like
Yeah.
a good project, but we just.
We need a
good
Gantt
plan.
chart?
Well, no, we don't need a Gantt.
Oh, no.
We just need to know, we have to back into it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, yeah, that's right,
Right.
exactly. That's right.
You're right.
But we do need a plan, yeah, okay. Kelly, do you indicate that you would be interested in doing that?
sure, yeah.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
thank you.
If you have
Thank
anything that else in addition to what we've talked about, let me know that should be
That's
on
fine,
it,
yeah.
but this is what we have to,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, you know what,
The forms, do we have to create these all ourselves, or are there any forms like that?
well, I
Volunteer
think there are
forms.
forms in the oral history manuals that I have, but we will
Okay,
probably
good.
want
We can look
to
at that.
tweak them.
All right.
Yeah, we'll want to tweak them, but
That'd
we
be
won't
fine.
be on our own with that. And the permission forms as well. We have, the oral history material will have permission forms that we can look at and ask our town attorney to look at. So, so we've got some material to bring together as a group and go over and make our selections.
And assuming we get this all together, Matt, you did that sign up, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we can
Yeah,
use.
that's easy.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that
Sign up genius.
Genius.
Matt's making a list of individuals, and I know
Yeah.
I've got some
I
individuals
just
in
sent you,
mind.
I've got 12 on there right now.
Great, great. And I think that we could call these people,
Yeah.
maybe send a letter and then do a follow-up phone call and set up the appointments ourselves.
Do you have John Biebert on there?
Yep. And siblings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And
That's a lot of
and
12 people
siblings,
there.
yes.
Oh,
He
gosh.
has a lot of
That's
great
one whole day.
stories.
I mean, beyond them, I think most of everybody I have would have been teenagers around that redevelopment time. The ones that did just pop into my head a few minutes ago were David and Debbie Brooks, which
Oh,
would be
yeah.
an older generation.
Yes, yes. Oh, they would be
And
fabulous.
I have to say, I don't understand. Every time I ask someone who I know was around at that time, if they remember that Episcopal church, and they all say there was a church there, and I can't imagine, they must have walked past it every day.
They were Catholic.
That's right. That's a great
Or
answer.
Congregationalist.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Oh, that's so funny. All right.
Okay.
I feel great. This has been a good conversation, I think, about the program. I will recraft the planning document based on what we've come up with at this meeting. And I know Garrett's notes about the meeting will have lots of details. So we'll have all this documented and written down, and we can make sure that the planning document continues to become refined as we go through this process.
Yeah, and maybe we should set up, or we're not gonna do it, Garrett, a place out on the town server
Yeah, that's fine.
where we can begin to share notes and ideas, maybe.
Yeah, I can set up a OneDrive so that way everyone can just have access to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'd send that to us, Garrett? You'll send that to us?
Yeah, I'll make a,
Yeah,
like
awesome.
I've done for the walking tours where people can just start uploading
Oh,
stuff. As long
right,
as-
right.
It just needs to be organized, that's all.
Yeah.
Not that the walking tours aren't organized, but if we just start uploading random documents and
Right,
stuff like
right,
that, then
yeah.
we
We
need.
need
Figure that
forms, we need
Make sure-
training,
yeah.
we need projects, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you for that, Garrett. Okay. Good. Anything else we should do at this point or pay attention to? Someone should, I'll reach out to the Farmington room, and just kind of get a sense of whether, what their interest is in, if not being involved with us, being the final destination or whatever. Can someone reach out to the Unionville Museum?
Because we're sharing space right now. So as I see them, I'll reach out and I'll see where they are with the project that they had going on as well.
Okay. All right. Sounds like they're doing some great work, and maybe we can learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
What they've done and how they're doing it. Great. You think of anything else we need to take care of between now and the next meeting? Let me think of anything. No? Okay. Your heads are full, aren't they? My head is full. All right then, great work. This is going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, is there any other business to come before the commission at this meeting?
I just have one thing, 1761 Farmington Avenue, the Fillions house. We got a permit to switch out the electric meter.
Yeah.
This is the existing box on the side of the house. So we're replacing it with a 200 amp service with an exterior disconnect. Lisa said it was fine because it was a utility and it's not really something that we want to deny as long as no one else has any objections.
You don't want one of those real old ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the fuses, you gotta.
But historically, no, I'm kidding, no.
I know. It's tempting, but not fair. I know, they're all ugly, no matter how old they are. Yeah, or new.
And then
Nothing much you can do.
Farmington Historic District will have a public hearing on March 25th for the expansion report to add the 2 historical society properties to the historic district.
Great.
This hasn't happened in a while, right?
Farmington has. We've had about 1 or 2 people a year. 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're more formal, so they're up on the dais. They meet at 5 instead of 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's on Zoom though,
Yeah.
so.
that's exciting. Good.
Steve helped with
That's
it, and Lisa reviewed it too, so, I'll be the one
Yeah.
presenting, so.
It's exciting.
That's all I've got.
All right.
Well, thank you, Garrett. Anybody else have
We have one
anything?
guest with us tonight?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. We have 2.
Lance?
Lance is our new, land use coordinator. He replaced Sandy. And then we have a high school student too that Lisa can't see.
Hi. Hiding back there. Are you trying to learn how the town operates?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, civics class. They go all, every semester, they have to come.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Lisa's on screen and she is our chairman.
And town historian. All right.
And she's out in
Great
Arizona
group.
right at the moment, so she can't
I
be
know.
here.
I am coming back, I promise.
Very good.
All right.
Well,
I don't
that
believe you.
concludes.
You really like it there. It's gonna get very
Yeah.
hot soon. You're not gonna want to be there.
I know. I won't be here then. Well, that concludes our meeting for this evening. Thank you very much. You had good brains, good ideas. We will see each other in early April. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. A
second.
second? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. No, any abstentions? No, any, what's the other one? Abstentions? I forgot the other one. You don't have a choice. I'm sorry.
Anyone from
We're
the
ending
floor?
this meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
No, we're good.
All right, stay warm, stay safe, everybody. See you soon.